how you build systems at the heart of your business growth to make sure that the growth's predictable, it's measurable, and you've got some form of single source of truth that everybody in the business is using. It's all about alignment, in our view, is modern business growth. And I think having a good system is one of the 4 cornerstones we always work on with clients to put in place. Good afternoon and welcome to the AskDME live show for May. This is episode 4, and today's show is going to be all about CRM, technology and systems, how you build systems at the heart of your business growth to make sure that the growth's predictable, it's measurable, and you've got some form of single source of truth that everybody in the business is using. It's all about alignment, in our view, is modern business growth. And I think having a good system is one of the 4 cornerstones we always work on with clients to put in place. So today's show, again, is being streamed out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You're probably watching through the LinkedIn event. If you are on the LinkedIn event, please make sure you vote in the poll on there, and also make sure that you comment in there. You can engage with the show live in the LinkedIn event. Facebook and YouTube comments also come through on our feed here, but the best way to engage is through that LinkedIn event. You'll see there's a chat and it says event chat. You can chat through there, leave comments, say hello, anything you want to do. If you want to ask questions live, then please do so through there. So as I say, today's show is one of the 4 cornerstones, which we have is strategy, lead generation, marketing, and then we have the sales and customer acquisition side, and then systems is that 4th cornerstone that we always work on with people to make sure that they're using technology in the right way, but that everything's connected that they're using, because a lot of people, because there's so many different marketing, sales tools, different CRM systems, different pieces of financial software, there's all these different software and technology tools out there, and people tend to organically grow their system over a period of time, which means that nothing's talking to anything. It's an impossible task to generate any meaningful reports from their system, and it's starting to hinder their growth. And that's one of the problems, is that having poor systems can actually hinder growth rather than give you the tools to really accelerate and scale up your growth. So we're really lucky on today's show because we've got 2 experts on systems, technology and software, particularly Hubspot, which is, as a Hubspot partner, Rachel, our operations manager, she has spent the last 3 years learning everything there is to know about HubSpot. And we've also got Gemma Price joining us from HubGem. Gemma is just the font of knowledge about HubSpot as well. So having these 2 people answering your questions today is just a fantastic opportunity. The poll we actually asked on the LinkedIn event was, what system and technology do you feel is lacking and is hindering your growth? And an effective CRM, marketing automation tools, sales pipeline management tools, or metrics and analytics tools. And by far, marketing automation tools is winning at the moment. So make sure you vote in that poll, and I'll give you an update at the end of the show to what people feel is slowing their growth down. So let's get on with the show. You can ask questions live, but we've also had questions coming in over the past week, and we've selected 6 questions to answer. I think there's something for everybody in here. So let's get on with the questions and start introducing our guests. So first of all, let's bring in Rachel.
Good afternoon,
Rach,
everyone.
how are you?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Just want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then
Yeah, certainly. So as you said in the intro, I've been with the company now for about 3 years. Throughout that time, we have moved into becoming a HubSpot customer and then also a HubSpot partner. The reason for this is just because the full suite, which is offered through HubSpot, and we are a champion of it, but we do appreciate that there are kind of other systems out there as well, which can do similar things. What I really love about it is the kind of all in one place, and how it offers any company that kind of single source of truth to bring together all the different systems that you might be looking to implement. It's definitely something that I wish I'd kind of encountered in previous roles that I've been in, working in communications in different companies, and also even event management. So it really has been a delight to discover, and also kind of happy to share and kind of help other companies implement systems to help them with their growth as well.
Fab. Thanks, Rach. And let's bring in Gemma as well. Hi, Gem. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you. Good. How are you?
Yeah, excellent.
Great to be here.
No, and tell us a little bit about your journey so far, because obviously HubGem, are you just gone past your first year, is it?
Yes, we're 18 months in now. So my background is education and non-profit marketing, and again, it's an area where systems are fundamental to success with communications. So sort of saw the need for it across those sectors, launched HubGem marketing back at the end of 2019, and we are a Platinum HubSpot partner. We specialize in implementing systems to see growth in particularly education and non-profit organizations. And live and breathe systems that can just bring teams together and make things easier instead of harder.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's that aligning everyone in your business around a system that everyone's using on a daily basis, and just gives you, like Rachel talked about, that single source of truth, that we know everything, all the information we need, all the contact information, all our partners, everything is happening in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, we're in 2021. We're in a world where systems can talk. Let's take that option.
Yeah, let's do that. Right, so it's something we cover in detail in our Lead and Revenue Masterclass. It was launched in January. It's a free masterclass. I just thought I'd quickly give it a plug. If you haven't done the masterclass yet, go to the bit.ly/Leads Revenue 2021. Go to that link there, and you'll be able to sign up for free. It's a 6-video masterclass. Takes about 2.5 hours. And there's also a workbook we've developed for people to work through as they go through the videos, just to really help them develop a strategy. And also it covers, one of the videos covers all about developing the right systems at the heart of your business. So again, hopefully that's useful for people. Right, let's get into the questions. Is everyone ready? Are you ready?
Also,
ready to go.
Awesome. Yes. Right. So the first question is something we hear a lot from clients, and I'm sure you do, Gem, as well. I don't feel my business is at the stage where I need a big system. My spreadsheets do the job just fine. And do I really need a CRM? So what are your thoughts on that one, Gemma?
I'm not anti-spreadsheet, but I do think there's a cleverer way to work. Where spreadsheets are, you can pop some data in there. It doesn't really do anything. It sits there. It's all very manual. It's sort of it makes things harder a lot of the time. If you then call a contact, how are you going to make a note of that? Are you manually making a note every time you send them an email? There will always be some jobs where spreadsheets are the answer. I don't believe that customer relationship management is that job, the job for a spreadsheet.
And what do you think scares people? Is it the investment? Is it the time investment? Do they think it's going to be expensive to use a CRM, or what's your sort of feedback you get from people who are wedded to spreadsheets?
I think it's mostly a confidence thing. It's a different way of working. Everyone knows what a spreadsheet is and how it works. Yeah. And I think that when people hear anything to do with new systems, it's that unknown. So I'd say mostly it's a confidence thing and a concern about, what even is it? I think people sometimes don't really know what's possible. Certainly the things like sending emails and tracking whether they've been opened, and having that informed element to your communications. I'm not sure many people realize how easy that is in a good CRM platform.
Yeah, and obviously cost prohibitive. I think a lot of people think it's the cost as well, but as we know, you can get started for free with a good CRM nowadays, can't you? So
yeah, absolutely.
Change of habit. Right, Rachel, let's have your opinions on spreadsheets.
Yeah, I'm of a kind of similar view. I still do love a good spreadsheet in the right place, doing the right thing. But as Gemma says, for like the day-to-day tracking and the reporting, you need a system that's a bit more kind of agile and connected. So we kind of quite often see companies where the technology they have is actually kind of holding them back from their growth. because as the company's developed, they've perhaps had more staff coming in. Each time they've needed to do something, it's been a kind of quick fix has been added in. So what they've actually got running is the systems and processes are being dictated by the technology, the apps that they're using, rather than the technology kind of actually supporting and helping with the process and systems that the business wants to be implementing and running.
Yeah.
It's never too late. You can kind of course correct, but the further down that road you are, it can be a little bit painful. And like Gemma says, kind of it's the art, realizing the art of the possible when it comes to what is out there. And kind of once you kind of get an appreciation of that, is then kind of mapping out what are your desired routes and processes. And then there's always the kind of the dreaded data cleanse and migration. But in the long run, that short period of pain will probably set you up on a much better path for where you're looking to go. I think Gemma touched on as well, kind of people get set in their ways. The further down the road you are, kind of obviously you may have more staff in, it's a culture change at that point. But I'm a kind of big believer in this is the way we've always done things is not the reason to keep doing them. That's the worst possible reason. So getting that system in place that can really support and actually help inform you with those database decisions to keep your business moving forward and giving you that kind of push in the right direction when you need it, and it's all there in one place. It's not as depending on the system, it's not as scary to get set up as you might think, but it's just kind of becoming informed on the options available and then kind of making that choice rather than staying kind of shackled with this is what we've got and it might be a bit too painful to try and change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Data-driven decisions is something we talk about a lot because your data never lies to you. You know, the engagements you have with people. I think we all in business who run business have strong opinions. That's why we started our businesses. But at the same time, you can't argue with what the market tells you. And that's the market will never lie to you is something that's very true in marketing. I think that, you know, we may have an opinion on what will work, but once you have the data that this is working, can be improved, and this is how we improve it and optimize it. It's very hard to stop your business growing, to be honest, because you're always making the right decisions. You're not making a decision based on your previous experience. It's what things are telling you. So, and what about a size of business then? Because a lot of people we talk to, you know, I'm only a one-man band or there's two of us in the company. Who wants to say that? You know, do you think there's a size of company that should start looking at it, or?
That's something, obviously, when we've not been a business for all that long, 18 months in, we're a small business, we're growing rapidly, but CRM is fundamental to us. I can't imagine running the business without it. And I don't think that the size of the business matters. Obviously, it's perhaps more important when you're in a really big organization. You need to have a system to support the more complex functions. But actually, even down to, you know, sole traders and very small businesses, just having that central record to help you just do your day-to-day will save you spending your life doing admin.
Yeah, definitely. It's that time save as well, isn't it? It's you know, we certainly find that there's so many things built into HubSpot, and we don't want it to be a HubSpot promo show, but it's true. Everything that we use in HubSpot saves us so much time as the way we used to do it. And I think that's the main thing clients feedback to us. It's this, how much time they're getting back in their businesses by having a system set up properly. So let's move on to question 2 then. So you can stay on the screen if you want, Gemma. I was going to leave Gemma on the screen. I'm going to put this one straight to her. So question 2 that came in, that was sent in, was actually by Gary. I think in the last show he asked this question, and it's a new user of HubSpot. So he's just got the starter. I think the starter version of HubSpot. What were the key features of the software that I should be using to help my growth? So where would you start if it's a new user, Gemma?
I'd be looking at sort of seeing value as quickly as possible. So I think if you'd probably start with the forms, just get some really simple but effective web forms built in HubSpot. It can take sort of 10 minutes, if that, to build a really good form, embed that on your website, and immediately you've got your own little lead generation tool, which is taking out the admin. I see a lot of businesses where they have a form on their website, but it just goes into the back end of a site somewhere, and someone gets an email and types it in to another system or to a spreadsheet. So I think the forms are such a fundamental element in that you're just not transferring data. So that's a quick win. Also on a similar vein, but HubSpot allows you to have like pop-up forms. So immediately you're capturing the eyes of whoever is already on your site and sort of learning about you and interrupting them in a helpful way. So, if you're interested in this, why not look at this, download this guide or sign up to this? And they're really successful. I see great conversion rates with them. Really simple, really effective. I would say they are certainly at like starter level, the really quick and easy to implement big wins. And then I suppose it's looking at the next stage is what happens when you've captured that information. So I'd look at implementing, if you're using professional tools, then you've got things like automation. So I'd look at, okay, if people are filling in this form, let's automatically send them this email. And then let's follow up with this email and really start to take some of that workload off your desk.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's I think even on the free level of HubSpot, you get some form of some of the forms, don't you? So, so yeah. And what's your view on it, Rachel? When people are starting out, what's the thing you focus on when you're onboarding people?
Yeah, I'm going to take a slightly kind of operations view. I know, Gemma, kind of you're the marketing side, so we've got kind of two sides of a coin here. The bits that I kind of focus on is going kind of very base and simple, and it almost kind of links back to the kind of end of question one of sole trader versus big company and kind of needing to use a CRM and the time saving element. Of get that set up, get your contacts imported, make sure they're clean and that they're current, so you've not got any kind of bad data coming in. And then with that, kind of make use of the custom field options that you've got, so you're really able to customize what you're recording about the people that you're conversing with, and make the CRM fit you rather than the other way around. On the kind of time saving element and the day-to-day, which once again, sole traders kind of can't hold everything in your head, or small teams, it's impossible to keep everything you need in your noggin, and then big teams in too many different people's heads that the information just gets spread out and lost. So it's bringing that all together and kind of putting some templates in behind the system, so you can always draw on a certain set way of presenting something, kind of whether that be a description of your products and services, terms and conditions as an example I always use for that as well. So across the company, you're having a very kind of predictable and repeatable approach to those methods. And also, I'm just going to slip in that the meetings tool is fabulous. I love that. So people can automatically, around times that you've blocked out, book into your diary. And that really does kind of cut down on the kind of email ping pong of, are you free then? No, how about then? And it just makes it a much kind of smoother process for you and your prospect or customer trying to get that time in the diary.
Yeah. And can I throw in chatbots? Because I love chatbots.
We know you love chatbots.
I got you again with HubSpot. You get free chatbot, free live chat. So again, as Gemma said about forms, giving people relevant information at the right time. Again, a chatbot when set up properly can be a real time saver, and also nurture a relationship very early on. Get people's contact details into your CRM. So again, and I do stress, set them up properly, spend time on your conversational strategy and thinking what people's questions they're asking on certain pages, because these can be set by URL. So if they're on your pricing or services page, it can talk about services, can the chatbot, and nothing else. So again, if you set them up properly, I think having these tools can really give a nice user experience and get that engagement up on the right footing. So fabulous. I love that. Great question. And thank you, Gary, for the question, but also thank you for your input, you too. So let's move on. We're still talking features here. And question 3 that was sent in was, I don't have the time to learn what every element of HubSpot does or keep up to date with the new features. What can you recommend to help? And, that's basically the question. What can you recommend to help? I think every person is scared of software because it is constantly being updated, but usually it's additional functionality that users are asking for is my view. So it's worth persevering with and having the support to make sure that you every month you should be reviewing that. What are your thoughts on that, Rachel, while you're on the screen?
Yeah, a good system, a CRM system, and the other add-ons shouldn't be that difficult for you to use, in my point of view. So your day-to-day is not going to be onerous. Hopefully it'll be fairly intuitive, and if you do need to look things up, they should be easy to find. However, for some of the more advanced elements that are included, perhaps some of the automation and some of the elements that are included in the Pro and beyond packages, it could be just, it's a case of familiarity. And with all these things, it's kind of, you need to bring in a professional, someone who's more familiar with it. So like if you're moving house, you have your solicitor and the estate agents to help you with that. Likewise for the specialist areas, it'd be a case of bringing in that support system in the form of a HubSpot specialist. So kind of, we've got 3 in the room right here. I'm trying not to kind of put it in too much of a plug, but around the tools as well, there's a brilliant kind of support documents. There's a really great community resource as well. So the right system, it's not going to be too overwhelming or onerous to get to grips with the basics, but it's kind of identifying that time of, if you need to ask for help with certain things, have a resource in place that you can go to for that.
Fabulous. Yeah. Gemma, let's bring you in.
Yeah, so I mean, it brings us back to that point on like not letting a new system sort of scare you. There are so many resources out there, especially for HubSpot. You've got things like the HubSpot Academy, so there's a whole load of online lessons and certificates. If you want a nice shiny certificate as well, you can do those all free of charge online. So if there is an element that you want to learn, the chances are there's some information out there on it. As Rachel mentioned, there's a really good community. Loads and loads of bits you can look at online, and also if we're here on LinkedIn, and there's a load of stuff on LinkedIn. A lot of the people who teach on the HubSpot Academy are very active on LinkedIn. They share like sort of 2-minute updates, so they're quick and easy to digest, and they'll just break down a feature for you. Like every day is a school day, right? If you can set aside a few minutes in a day to learn something new, then actually think of the time that you're going to save in the long run.
Absolutely. Kyle Jepson, that's what you
Yeah.
Yes,
So we'll give Kyle a shout out.
Every
We know
day.
you're thinking of.
Just a little nugget.
Yeah, the HubSpot hype guy, I think he's described himself as, but no, brilliant content.
Yeah, and I think it is a matter of making the time, because it's important to your business growth. The more you understand this and leverage the tools that you've got, the more you're going to accelerate that growth and make, as I say, we're always talking about predictable growth. Well, once you layer these things on top of each other, everything's working together to make sure you're growing. And it means that includes your team, that includes the people in your organization. Everyone should be aligned around that system. So marketing, sales, service, everybody in the organization can see the same information about contacts, about prospects, about leads coming through the business, about who spoke to them last and where they are in your sales pipeline. I think once these elements are put together, and that's why it takes us, I'd say 6 weeks to 3 months to onboard somebody, because we want them to get everything, understand it, and then fit it into their business and action it each day. And I know Rachel spent a lot of time rewriting our onboarding to make sure it was very personal to businesses, but it was because we want them to use this and really see the benefit of it at the end of it. So, yeah, I think that there's plenty of support out there, paid support, free support. There's no reason to be overwhelmed by, I can't find the answer to something. And the new features, I always think, are a positive. We haven't really seen new features come in from HubSpot this year that we haven't thought we needed that, and that really just fills a little gap. Or they're very much wanting you to be on one platform and everything you need's there, aren't they? So having that connected, all your tools connected as well, so you can run reports and get accurate data out, is so important. So don't be scared of it. I think both of you said that, and I agree. I think once people relax into it and really learn the right things, they just love it. They see uses that they never thought they would use a CRM for. So fabulous. Right, let's move on to the next question. Any questions? I'll just check the chat. Anyone got any questions that they want answering live?
We've got a bit of a conversation about automation coming in from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I think Richard's saying that you're kind of agreeing that CRM automation needs to be there, and large and small companies will benefit. And a bit of a further conversation from there, kind of going, but it can be kind of simple automation. To quote, it doesn't need to be rocket science, which is exactly right. You need to make it fit for what you need to do with it.
Yeah, like Gemma rightly said, even starting with forms and a simple 2 or 3 email follow-up is just a great starting point, and then moving on to having a landing page and offers and all of these different things you can bring in. But yeah, I think simple automation can then be when you're getting into workflows, and you can use automation internally and externally. It can get as complex as you like, but still our best campaigns are the simple ones, because everything's being measured. We know the input at one end and what's coming out at the other end. So your outcomes are very predictable, and the areas to tweak or any blocks that you can see that you can start working on to just improve the performance of it. So let's move on to question 4. Anything else on chat, Rach, that you've seen?
Nothing at the minute. Look forward to more coming in though.
Keep encouraging them.
Yeah.
This is a common thing that we find. As I said this earlier on in the introduction. I have a few separate pieces of software that we use in our business, especially for client management. If I move to HubSpot, do I need to stop using them, or can they be integrated? And I'm sure, Gemma, you have this with schools, because they use all sorts of pieces of software. So if you want to start taking this one.
Yeah. So every business will already have some systems they use, and part of it is to look at what specific functions they do. Is it something that could be brought into HubSpot, or is it something that does need to be separate? In which case, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of off-the-shelf integrations. So all the big ones, Zoom and Office and calendars and everything like that. Already exists. It's usually a couple of clicks and they're connected. Simple. Of course, there will be some sort of, especially when you get to like sector specific software, where those needs for integration, it may not already exist, or it's very niche. In which case, there's HubSpot has what we call an open API, so the data can be pulled from HubSpot and into other systems and back again. I always tend to say when I do deliver onboarding and bring new clients into HubSpot, I say sort of start simple. So what are the core tools that you're using every day as part of this bit of the journey? So usually that's your emails, your calendars, your live chats. It's your Zoom, your video calls, and all of those are fully integrated and off the shelf. And then if there are some more complex needs, I'd say work with a specialist, unless you have an in-house developer, if you do need something custom, although it's rare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think they've done a great job at those integrations, haven't they? At making sure that everything can talk to everything else. So, Rach, what have you seen in your onboarding with people with all different pieces of software?
Yeah, so kind of very similar. So kind of, do I stop using them, or can they be integrated? Similar to what Gemma says, possibly both is my simple answer to that. And it depends on what tools you use, and also kind of what kind of level at HubSpot you're looking to use as well. So in a similar vein, if HubSpot can do the job, I'd suggest bringing it in-house. So you've got your single system all in one place. For example, kind of big ones, there's perhaps social posting. If you've got the capability to do that in HubSpot, bring it in, you get some really great reporting, and you're not then kind of also paying extra for something like kind of Hootsuite, Meet Edgar, or other ones that are out there. Also kind of sales pipeline, that's something that can be brought in, or it could be integrated. It depends on the specific use case of that. So it might be something that just needs to be kind of explored a little bit further. For the kind of basic ones, what we kind of hear a lot is kind of finance systems are a big one to come in, and it's a case of look for the integration on that. HubSpot launched the Operations Hub just 21st of April, sorry. And that launched with 25 kind of straight out of the box kind of native integrations. Less than a month later, checked this morning, went out to 37. So some of the ones you got there, kind of Xero and QuickBooks, just got it up on the side here to have a look at some project management tools. Lot of FreshBooks as well is in there as well. So you've got a really kind of good resource that's just launched with that. Or anything that is a bit more complex, yeah, you have the API option to look into with the right level of support around it.
Yeah, I mean, the operations hub was a real, and we knew they bought PySync last year. I think it was last October they bought PySync, wasn't it, HubSpot? But that ability to sync data from nearly any other platform, it just, when they launched the operations hub, you could see exactly why they'd done that, hadn't they? Because even in reporting now, I think there was Carl Jepson had done a video last week that you can pull any data into reporting from an external source as well now. So yeah, it does make it quite exciting if you're a data geek who loves your reporting and to go very granular with that. So, and it's a bit connected is question 5. So let's move on to that as well. I'll pick this up and start, and then I'd like both of your input on this. So it's very similar vein, but rather than client care systems, it's a selection of unconnected pieces of software used by different teams across the company. It's a nightmare to run meaningful reports. How can we improve this? And again, we do get this a lot with clients where marketing have their own preferred tools. So they're probably using some social media posting tools, maybe an email sequence or email marketing tool. They might be using some form of landing page tool and having software for landing pages. So they have their set of tools, and then sales have their own. They maybe use Salesforce, or they might use Pipedrive, and they all have their favorites, obviously. And then you've got your poor C-suite or your management team, or even if it's a 2 or 3 person company, to be honest, if everyone's using separate pieces of software, you've got your management then trying to run a report at the end of a month on a spreadsheet again, and asking for bits of data to be sent to them and trying to make some sense out of it. So I think that's always my feeling, is the more we can get a connected system, and we've talked about this a lot, but I think your marketing and sales teams are getting more and more aligned in a modern business. They're talking to each other regularly. They should be having regular meetings with each other, because your sales team are on the front line. They're speaking to your customers every day. They're speaking to clients, and they can feed back to marketing exactly what content they need, what's the sentiment of the questions they're hearing from actual customers out in the field. So again, to have that smooth flow of data backwards and forwards, but also to be able to report on that nearly weekly. We try and get clients running a weekly report on a Sunday, ready for a Monday morning meeting. So everyone can see, it's really transparent then to what's working and what isn't. And I think we're all aligned around revenue nowadays. You know, revenue operations is a big thing, because that's how your business growth in most companies is going to be measured. You know, how are we going to get from 1.5 million to 2 million? Well, you know, if everything's connected and you can report on it, and all your systems are built around that growth and everyone working towards that growth and alignment, then you should be able to produce reports that show you how on track and off track you are. And I would get it down to 10 or 12 reports in a dashboard that could tell me exactly how on or off track we were. And each of the key people within that journey would then be able to have their own data and see what their part of the pie is that they're actually contributing to that growth. So I think that to me is the power of it, that unconnected pieces of software, I know everyone has their favorite, but it is like Rachel says, if you can change your attitude slightly and say, is there a better way to do this, which is what we're always trying to get clients to think, is there a better way to do this? Then you will come up with a solution. It may be HubSpot, it may be something else, but as long as it's all connected and your reporting super easy for you, so you can get that insight, I think that's really important. So what are your views on that, Rach?
Yeah, very similar. It's once again bringing it all together in one place, so you get that connected feedback loop. With a good CRM, you can also interrogate the data that's stored within it. So once again, like we were talking about earlier, when it was like considering the systems and the type of tools you want available, it's the art of the possible. So it may be that you need to speak to different people who know that the systems you're considering well, to learn what is possible to achieve with those systems. And with that, you can kind of open your eyes and see something new and perhaps appreciate, oh, I didn't realize I needed to know this, but you can build it in. You mentioned the embedding, which is now possible in HubSpot reports. So yeah, you can do that basically from anywhere. It's an iframe sitting with the URL. So anything with an embed code, you can draw in and pop it on the report, whether that be a kind of a PowerPoint slide, a video of the head of marketing delivering that report to the C-suite when it goes off on that automated email, all the way through to like project management tools, YouTube videos, Vidyard. All of that can come into one place to give a really kind of rich and valuable reporting experience.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And what do you see, Jem, on this?
Yeah, so I think it's one of them things where I'm glad to mostly see the back of spreadsheets. I remember, a few years ago trying to generate reports from something as simple as how are my different social channels working compared to each other? Like which ones are having the best engagement and what impact is that having on our numbers? Even to do it in different platforms is crazy now. So just now, if I want to run that report for the business, I have a dashboard set up. I can see side by side all the social channels. I can then see what that led to. So it's that having real oversight of all of your marketing, all of your sales activities, and saying, okay, what impact did that have on the bottom line? And looking, I like when you really zoom in, and I am a bit of a reports nerd on this, but I love then zooming in, going, okay, what happened here, and then building another report to just see what attributed to that success. Was it this or was it this? And looking at things like the conversion between different points. Even the smallest businesses, you will have a process. So this element of marketing becomes this bit of sales, becomes a customer, and then service. And it's that ability to see any areas where that conversion rate drops and then start to identify why. Ultimately, you need to do that in order to fix it.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the head there, because I think the what we're all after in Nirvana is to know the return on investment on every penny we spend is actually giving us a positive return at the end of it. And I always use paid ads as an example, because I can see so many people spending thousands of pounds a month and they're not measuring each of the ads and seeing exactly where their leads are coming from and how many of those leads are turning into actual revenue and customers. And that's, like you say, you can run reports now that will show you every source, not just your paid sources, but your organic sources, referrals, all the different sources of traffic that come into your business or lead sources, and which is the most profitable, and I love that, to be able to pull it back in from zero and know that this generated this amount of money for the business is just such a liberating feeling, because we've never had it in the past, where you could sort of, you hope, and certainly I think offline marketers would know the perils of this, because you can't measure a magazine ad or a trade show, or spending thousands on a trade show. What did it actually generate me in revenue? That's a long drawn out process, whereas with digital you can measure every single thing that's happening, as you say, with your social channels, which social channels producing the most leads, but which social channels producing the most leads that go on to be customers. So I think that's a really valuable point, and that cost of customer acquisition should be so transparent to you then, that you know where to spend your next pound to get more people. Or if you want to grow more in this year and scale up, then which is the channel I invest my most money into, because it'll perform. It should be that predictable, I think. Getting people there is a different thing, but that's where we're trying to get everyone to, everyone to have that peace of mind that if I spend X, I'll get this back in my business. So
HubSpot have just spent quite a lot of time. I think they've really developed the revenue attribution reporting, which kind of what this is all about. So it's easy to kind of even weight differently depending on people's individual sales process of what bit matters more. So it's kind of very customizable, and like Gemma said about the social reporting, they'll add a flashback to spreadsheets and other things then, which is not the right use of spreadsheets. But kind of having that connected system, years ago it was okay, I've had however many more likes or a few people have commented, but what does it actually mean? And it's having that attribution to actual contact behavior as well, which is so important when it comes to developing the content, adjusting your sales process and mapping through. So you can, rather than just having a bulk of people have done a certain thing, you can actually segment of what type of audience has done a certain thing. Am I hitting the right note with this? Is it my target audience? Do we need to adjust? So you get a huge amount of data that can be drawn out from to help inform what's going forward.
Yeah, so a great question, and hopefully that's answered it. But I think you try and connect as many of your pieces of software as you can, and your reporting should be a breeze. There's no reason, as Gemma said, in the modern 2021 that we can't run accurate reporting on every area of your business growth and what's happening in every area of your business. So let's move on. I'm just conscious of time. We're on hitting 40 minutes, so I just want to get on to the final question and then wrap up from both of you as well. So let's have a look at question 6. Was this was something that we that we do here again about frequently asked questions, because there's nothing annoys me more than a stand-up page on a website of frequently asked questions that doesn't change over 3 years. It's not very dynamic. It's not really thinking of the visitors to your website. So we find that in our business, we get asked the same things repeatedly. How can we use Hubspot to more effectively handle regular inquiries and frequently asked questions? So Gemma, I'm going to bring you back in on that one to start with, and then we'll go back to Rach. But I know you've got a good view on this.
Yeah, I think every business, especially any customer-facing business, and most B2B as well, will have FAQs. And honestly, the amount of times I hear people say to me, "Oh, well, it was on the website," and I'm thinking, well, but the person visiting your website didn't find it. They had to go and search for a list of questions. And you're right. If you sometimes people deal with FAQs by putting them on one long page. Well, that's a headache. That's not helping anybody out. It's a nightmare, especially if they never change. So again, there's a series of tools available in HubSpot that allow you to handle the customer service element. So this is a bit that goes beyond the marketing, beyond the sales, and then actually when somebody is becoming or has become a customer, what are you doing to help them? So things like a searchable knowledge base. So this is where your FAQs would go. And instead of somebody getting lost on your site, digging for some information that they just can't find, instead they go to one search box and put, I don't know, how long does this take, or how much does this cost? And the answer is there immediately. You can then have control over your FAQs. You make the user experience much better because they're not digging around and getting frustrated and possibly going elsewhere. And of course, then because it's digital, it's trackable. So you can then see, okay, actually 10 people have searched this same question in the last month. Maybe we need to write some content about that. Maybe we need to send an email out to our database saying, like, preempting that question. So I'd say the searchable knowledge base in HubSpot is one of my favorite service features because it makes everyone's life easier. And it can also link to your live chats as well. So actually you can have a chat bot that gets asked a question, goes away, searches your knowledge base and returns immediately the answer to that question to your visitor. If you think what the alternative is, someone is likely to get frustrated with your website. And if they still care enough, pick up the phone and ask you, well, that's taking then time out of your day. And so it's about, just making it easier. And I think knowledge base, things like live chat, anything to make asking questions easier can prevent those sort of bottlenecks where everyone gets stuck at the same point.
Yeah. Have you anything to add to that, Rach?
No, just another big fan knowledge base here. Like Gemma says, it gives you that kind of almost kind of in-house wiki that you can share with your prospects, and they can look for what they need, and it can be used to help inform where you might need to add to your content. So I'm going to look at it slightly from the regular inquiries side of things, because this is where perhaps automation can also come in to support the elements there, and some of that's available in the chatbot that Gemma mentioned, where you can suggest knowledge base articles to people, but also kind of using that to inform the content that is made perhaps through marketing for the sales team to help educate those prospects that you've got coming through. So part of that is the kind of capturing of leads and how you best nurture those leads, which can be content that does sit in your knowledge base, but could also perhaps you might need to embellish on or add more in your general pages, so people are able to discover it quickly, but then also have the option to take a deeper dive if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing I would add is that there's free support tickets right from the start on HubSpot as well. If you use snippets and tools, so you can have actual sections of text saved as a snippet that can easily be inserted into any response quickly as well. So if you have a support system as well, that there are questions coming through that, then you can easily have a templated email that can go out to people to answer that question with links in it, or as I say, a snippet of a paragraph of text that can go out and answer as well. So there's multiple ways, and I think there's no reason now to not make that user experience really remarkable on your website, where they're not going off somewhere else to find the answer to the question. You're actually showing that you listen to people who visit your site and that you've thought of this for them. So excellent. So I'm just going to ask each of you to wrap up on system, CRM, technology. Anything you want to say on the subject before we end the show for everybody? Jem?
Yeah, I think it has to come back to, don't be scared of it. If you don't know what it is, ask a specialist. Speak to any of us on the call about what is this? Would it work for my business? I expect the answer is yes. If you're not already doing something like this, don't be scared of it, and don't be scared of the training or the cost. Like there's information and there's free tools. So yeah. Get
started.
Yeah, basically.
Rach, what have you got to say?
Yeah, my first thing was don't be scared as well. So I'm going to go on for that. Like Gemma said, do your research around the options that are available for you. It's not going to be one size fits all. But if you're starting to experience the pain and the frustration of what you've currently got not quite fitting right, that's only going to get worse. Let's face it, it will start to hinder, as we discussed at the start. So do your research into what's out there. Talk to the experts in all those different areas to fully explore what is possible. Once again, that art of the possible, because that can open your eyes to new opportunities and perhaps avenues that you hadn't considered. And once you've got that in place, think, okay, the implementation might be a bit painful, but it'll be worth it in the long run. But also look forward into not just what you may need to solve the problem that you've got now, but something that's going to grow with you and continue to offer that flexibility, the support that you're going to need growing forward as your business starts to expand and you are embracing more potential options out there.
Fab. Thank you very much. Right. Well, hopefully that was a live. We're just gone to 46 minutes, so we better wrap things up. Thank you to both of you, especially Gemma, but thank you, Rach, as well, for giving your input. But Gemma, thank you for your time. I know you've had busy days over the last few weeks, so to take time out for the show is fantastic. So thank you again. Just to everybody, the next live show we've got coming up will be the June show. That's Wednesday, the 23rd of June. Again, it's going to be lunchtime, 12 noon on the 23rd of June. And we're going to focus in on everyone's favorite topic, which is the secrets to driving targeted traffic and lead generation. So it's going to be very marketing focused, is that show. So again, any questions any of you've got, just send them in. You can send them through email. You can DM us on LinkedIn. You can send them any number of ways. Just get those questions in. Anything you want to know about traffic generation, lead generation, or nurturing leads, anything like that, anything marketing based. So we're going to focus on that in the next show. So look forward to seeing you all then. And thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully it's been a valuable session, and take some of this away and put it into action in your businesses. All right, take care. Bye.